this is Dustin with the Quest Kids, and I'm here to teach you how to play the Big Bad's battle against Shayde. The first step for preparing the Shayde battle is to find the Shayde dungeon tiles and to shuffle them and place them in a draw pile. I like to place them right here by the front door. Next, we're going to draw 3 Shayde tiles and place them in the spots shown on page 23 of the rulebook, which would be behind each of the doors. So right there, and right there. Next, you're going to take 6 treasure tokens randomly from the bag and place them in the spots shown on page 23 of the rulebook, which would be 2 right here, 2 right here, and 2 right here. If you don't have enough treasure tokens in the treasure bag, place as many tokens as possible. Next, move all of the player pieces into the main middle room of the cave. We're doing an example of a 2-player game, so we have Flint and Noah. Also, as a reminder, players can use all items and remaining ability cards from their adventure previously through Tolk's cave. So any ability cards left on their player board or special items that they had found, they can use during this battle. For the Big Bads of Tolk's Cave expansion for the Quest Kids, during their main adventure, the Quest Kids players will be placing ability cards on the Big Bad's tile based on bad things happening to them through that first journey. For the battle against Shayde, here are the Big Bad's tile penalties. If there are 2 or 3 ability cards on the Big Bad's tile, after being scared away, Rat Shayde goes back into the draw pile. The next time Rat Shayde is scared away, he can be placed on the Conquering Heroes player board. So once Rat Shayde is scared away, he would be shuffled into the draw pile again and not be placed on a player board. If there are 4 or 5 cards on the Big Bad's tile, then Spider Shayde, when he's scared away the first time, does not go on a player board. He goes back into the draw pile. And if there are 6 or more cards on the Big Bad's tile, then the first time Grayson the Green is scared away, he does not go on a player board, but he goes back into the draw pile. When battling Shayde, the Quest Kids must defeat Shayde, but it won't be easy because he's a shifty one. The wizard is constantly moving around the cave and transforming into silly creatures. Do the Quest Kids have what it takes to nail down this silly sorcerer, or will they be tempted by treasure and fail to complete this quest? So on each turn, a player must explore one of the 3 Shayde dungeon tiles on the board. So let's do an example here, okay? So Flint will choose to explore this tile, okay? So flip it over, and it's an ability tile. So Flint gains 2 magic, 1 power, and 1 wisdom. We'll place it on his player board, which is right here off screen. Once that's happened, you take this and you discard it, and then you take a new Shayde dungeon tile and replace it. So essentially what we're doing here is we're trying to find Shayde within these dungeon tiles and defeat him. Once that happens, every other player takes a turn and the battle is over. So I'll do a few more turns here so you can see. So now it will be Noah's turn. Let's go ahead and have Noah explore this one right here. Okay, so we get our first baddie, but it's Shayde, but he's in a snake form. So that's not who we're looking for. But Noah can still fight Snake Shayde here. He would need 1 magic and 2 power. He happens to have that on his player board. 1 magic and 2 power. And he would take Shayde and put him on his player board for stars at the end of the game. However, if Noah did not have the magic and 2 power needed, Flint, like in a normal adventure throughout the cave, could help Noah to gain a time key card. So Noah scares this snake away, and before we replace this tile, Noah actually has the opportunity to go through here and go get some treasure. Now we know Noah likes treasure, so let's do that. So he's gonna go and grab 1 of the treasure coins. So I'll take this one. He gets Ivy's lamp there, worth a star. But before he can return to the cave, we do replace this tile here. What that does is it essentially blocks Noah from being able to come back into the cave, either this way or this way. And that means if he encounters a bad guy that he's not able to scare away, Flint cannot help him because he's on the other side of the wall. Whenever a player goes to explore for treasure after defeating one of the Shayde dungeon tiles, they can only take one treasure token. So they can't just keep hopping around here taking treasure. They have to get back into the cave, and then if they want to go for more treasure, once they scare away a bad guy or discover an ability tile, then they can hop over and get another treasure token. So they can only get one treasure token per ability tile that they pass by. Let's go through another turn here. Let's have Shayde explore this one. Okay, so Flint sees Rat Shayde. Now, Flint needs a power and a wisdom. Flint has that, as we know from the last turn, from this tile here. Power wisdom, turn it in. And Flint gets Rat Shayde for his player board. Replace. Now let's do one more turn to see Noah get back into the cave. Okay, so Noah will go around back through this way and explore this tile. He gets 1 magic, 2 power, 2 wisdom onto his player board, discard this tile, and Noah gets back into the main cave. We'll do one more example to show you one other situation that might arise. So Flint's turn, he comes here. He sees Bat Shayde. Now let's pretend that Flint does not have the power, wisdom, and magic needed to scare away Bat Shayde. Let's also pretend that nobody can help him out. Flint would lose a heart. And then Bat Shayde would go not into the discard pile, but he would go into the still alive pile. And you would replace that tile where Bat Shayde was. And the still alive pile comes into play because let's say, for example, we go through all of these tiles, okay? So boom, boom, boom. These are discarded. Spider Shayde is scared away by Noah. He's get replaced. Boom. Okay, we have Shayde the Shifty. So let's pretend like, let's say that on this turn, the bad guys are not able to scare away Grayson the Green or Shayde the Shifty. They go into the still alive pile. Nina would go here because Nina was scared away by Flint. We replace these tiles one last time. Flip them over. Let's say that Night Shayde was also not scared away. This still alive pile creates our new draw pile. So we would have these here, and once again, we're just looking for Shayde the Shifty. Once he's scared away by one of the quest kids, which would be right here. Let's say Noah is able to scare away Shayde the Shifty. He goes on to Noah's player board, and every other player gets one more turn, and the battle's over. At that point, the players will count up the stars on their player board, both from the main adventure before the battle and during the battle against Shayde, and the player with the most stars wins.